Hold on to your Metro cards, New York. Zohran the moron has officially hit the ground running straight into a dumpster fire. 1 month in office, and the socialist mayor has turned free everything into, oops, never mind, while threatening policies that would crush the middle class. Even his most diehard fans are now clutching their wallets. And if you thought New York was the only stage for chaos, think again. Late night TV just got nuclear after Stephen Colbert apparently decided to try swaying the Texas Senate race, sparking an epic feud with the CBS brass. The drama is real. The statements are rolling in, including from CBS and Jasmine Crockett, the candidate caught in the crossfire. Do yourself a favor, like the video, share it with your friends, forward it to your relatives, and subscribe if you're new here. Welcome, because trust me, you're going to want a front row seat for this disaster parade. Which, let's go ahead and look at how it all started. New York Democrat Zohran Mamdani went all in on big promises.
We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants and use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it. We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line.
Free buses, frozen rent, housing for everyone. It sounded like a campaign rally sponsored by a credit card with no limit. But let's look at how it's actually going. Instead of free buses, New York City riders were greeted in January with a fare hike. According to the New York Times, subway and bus fares rose to $3, so there goes the free fares for everybody. And while riders are paying more, they're also worrying more. The New York Post reports the city marked the year's first fatal subway shooting just last week, as new NYPD stats show crime in the transit system is absolutely spiking. Let's put the numbers up. According to NYPD data through February 8th, major crime on subways and buses surged 17%. 246 incidents so far this year compared to 210 at the same point in 2025. Robbery skyrocketed 58%, jumping from 38 to 60. Assaults climbed from 65 to 71. So riders are paying more and getting less safety in return. That's quite the 2-for-1 deal. And then came Albany. After taking his tax the rich plan to the state capitol, Mamdani had to admit state leaders, including the governor, essentially told him, we are not squeezing high earners any further. Mamdani is trying to flex, though. He's pushing his agenda, trying to push it at least across the finish line. Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary, he says Mamdani is out of his mind.
This is bat poo-poo crazy, what he is proposing. And probably sometime next year, within 12 to 18 months, I will meet him in Miami and give him Real Estate Agent of the Year award. Because I'm not happy with what's happening. I can't get across the bridge anymore. I live in Miami Beach. Everybody from New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts is moving into my neighborhood. I'm pissed off. And this guy's just doing more of it. What he's proposing is beyond insane, but I love it.
You are
now,
very dramatic.
I'm like everybody else. Listen, you guys live here. You're not paying your fair share.
I don't live here.
You've got to pay 110%. That's the right thing to do. Because he's not cutting spending. He's just going to tax you into oblivion.
You get what you vote for. But if Mamdani can't wring more cash from the rich, don't worry. He's got a plan B. It's raid the city's rainy day fund and slap nearly a 10% property tax hike on everyone. Because nothing says we care about you like soaking the people who already pay while their wallets scream for mercy.
There are 2 paths to bridge this gap. The first is the most sustainable and the fairest path. This is the path of ending the drain on our city and raising taxes on the richest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path. Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We would have to raise property taxes.
There is another option here. He could cut off city-funded benefits for people here illegally and start cooperating more aggressively with federal immigration enforcement. That alone could save New York City billions. But since Zohran Mamdani refuses to go anywhere near that lever, it looks like New Yorkers are about to find out exactly what's behind door number 2.
What we would rather do is ensure that they remain as they are so that the city can be on firm financial footing. However, in order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
And when your property tax bill goes up in New York City, just remember, this isn't a hike. According to Mamdani, this is dignity.
For me, when you ask what does it mean to be a democratic socialist, for me it means to be fighting for
a society in which dignity is guaranteed to each and every member of this place.
Yeah, nothing says guaranteed dignity like a higher property tax statement and a $3 bus ride. In New York, you don't just pay more, you get the moral high ground with it. And speaking of being lectured while footing the bill, Democrat Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, she's unveiled what she's calling a trans bill of rights, sweeping legislation that would codify abortion nationwide, expand federal transgender protections, and override state laws on sports and sex-segregated spaces. And if you disagree, well, according to her, it's not because you have concerns about women's rights or the safety of your children. No, it's because you're jealous of trans people.
To trans people everywhere, I also want you to know this. Those people are threatened by your strength, by your joy in being fully who you are. Those who fight against trans people are just jealous of the freedom that they have taken to be fully who they are. And so those people just want to destroy that rather than imagine what it would be like to be fully who they are. Wise words from our young people.
There it is. Not disagreement, not debate, jealousy. It is the ultimate shutdown button. Disagree with me, and I'll diagnose you. Now let's talk about the broader irony in all this, because this is the same party that says it cannot define what a woman is, but simultaneously will lecture the country nonstop about the urgent need to elect a woman president. It's the same party that says women are strong, powerful, unstoppable forces of nature, but also apparently too fragile to obtain a photo ID. Make that make sense. And speaking of over-the-top drama and moral grandstanding, a very public, very late-night meltdown just erupted between talk show host Stephen Colbert and his own network, CBS. Lawyers apparently freaked out over his planned interview with the Texas Democrat U.S. Senate candidate, James Tallarico, and they went nuclear from there.
Was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
When your lawyer shows up with a copy of the FCC handbook, you know it's serious. Now, Colbert, he says they were warned about the FCC's equal time rule, that pesky little regulation that says if you put one political candidate on broadcast TV, you have to offer the same opportunity to the others. You know, fairness, a concept Democrats usually file under problematic. So what did Colbert do? He aired the interview online instead, where it promptly went viral, and then he mocked his own bosses on air, which is probably never a good idea.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to tell them how to do their jobs. But since they seem intent on telling me how to do mine, here we go. I don't even know what to do with this crap. Oh, hold on.
CBS is denying that it ever issued such orders. In fact, CBS released the following statement. It reads, quote, "The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Rep. James Tallarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates, including Rep. Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. The Late Show decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with an on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing the equal time options." Translation to all that? We didn't stop him. We just told him the law exists. Now, Tallarico did what any modern Democrat does when something inconvenient happens. He blamed Trump. Tallarico wrote on X, quote, "This is the interview Donald Trump didn't want you to see. His FCC refused to air my interview with Stephen Colbert. Trump is worried we're about to flip Texas." Yeah. Once again, in the eyes of the Democrat, fairness isn't a rule, it's a personal attack. If the law says equal time, suddenly it's suppression. If a lawyer mentions compliance, it's a conspiracy. And if someone else might get the same airtime, well, now we've crossed the line. Here's Jasmine Crockett responding to the late night drama.
We did receive information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment, number one. That is my understanding, that the federal government didn't shut this down. There may have been advice to just have me on, and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that, and instead we're going to just do it this way.
By giving James Tallarico a glowing viral platform while not giving Jasmine Crockett the same airtime, Colbert has managed to turn a late night segment into what looks a whole lot like a campaign ad with a laugh track. And guess what? It's working. The controversy helped turbocharge Tallarico's campaign, reportedly hauling in more than $2 million in just 24 hours after it aired. That's not pocket change, especially with early voting already underway in Texas. In a tight primary, that kind of cash can absolutely move the needle. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says this isn't accidental, it's influence.
It would have been different had he had this guest on 2 months ago, because people couldn't vote at that time. He's literally trying to influence election, and money is not equal in politics when you raise all that money. A candidate gets to buy TV time at a lower rate. So not only did this candidate get free airtime because he played it on YouTube, he raised $2.5 million, where Crockett's not. They are trying to influence the Democratic primary.
And here's the irony that deserves its own drum roll, quite honestly. Just a month ago, Democrats were absolutely outraged when a pair of comedians criticized Jasmine Crockett and actually discouraged people from donating to her campaign.
Anytime a politician is making it too obviously about themselves, I'm already done.
We're out.
Don't waste your money sending to Jasmine Crockett. Do not do it.
I must agree.
Don't do it. You're going to waste your money. Take it from someone who sent Sarah Gideon like a ton of money in Maine. Like, just don't do it.
The left completely lost it over that clip. Social media meltdowns, lectures about threats to democracy. It got so intense, the comedian ended up issuing an apology just to calm the mob down. But now, totally different standard. Now it's perfectly fine for Stephen Colbert to hand James Tallarico a viral platform and then wrap the whole thing in a juicy controversy that sends donations pouring in, and suddenly late night looks less like comedy and more like a super PAC with better lighting. Democrats, they're not hiding the ball here. They're openly vowing to spend $30 million just to flip Texas from red to blue.
A lot of people are like, there's no way Texas can do this. And I'm here to tell you that even on day one of early voting, we are exploding with participation right now.
And it's not just Democrats battling it out. Republicans, they have a high-stakes primary of their own in Texas. Incumbent Senator John Cornyn is fighting for his political life against two well-known challengers, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Congressman Wesley Hunt. This is not a sleepy primary. This is a heavyweight versus heavyweight versus heavyweight. And one major factor still hanging in the air, Donald Trump has not made an endorsement in this race, at least not as of yet. As for governorships, which are also crucial races to watch, CNN is sounding the alarm for Democrats who are predicting a blue wave.
Gubernatorial races nationwide should stand as a wake-up call for Democrats, because take a look here. The race raiders, governors post-2026 election, at least tilting to the Republicans. Look at this. A majority, 26. That is, at this point, the number of governors that are expected, at least tilting towards the Republican Party at this point. Democrats come in at just 20. The rest of the races are toss-up. Of course, you sum up to 50. And I will note that the Republicans right now hold a 26 to 24 gubernatorial seat advantage. So at this point, it doesn't look like Republicans on the net and the aggregate are actually going to lose any governorships. In fact, when you add in those toss-ups, they may gain. So this should stand as a major wake-up call to Democrats, because if there's a wave building, it has not, at least at this point, hit the state level when it comes to governorship.
Now, I, for one, I'm on the edge of my seat watching the governor's race in my home state of California, and not for the drama, but to see if sanity makes a cameo. Because let's be honest, under Gavin Newsom, California has become a masterclass in how to run a state straight into the ground while keeping a smile on camera. Skyrocketing housing costs, streets full of tents, rising crime, and a budget that somehow manages to be both bloated and mismanaged all at the same time. Bravo. Impressive chaos. If Californians don't start prioritizing basic quality of life over party loyalty, nothing will ever change here. The state will keep sliding, one progressive talking point at a time, while politicians pat themselves on the back for being woke and compassionate. At this rate, the Golden State is going to need a shovel just to dig itself out of this mess it's buried in, and I'm curious to see who actually has the courage to pick that shovel up. All right, up next, AOC, she makes a shocking confession after she is humiliated on the world stage in Munich, Germany. Did you see those clips? Pretty bad. Plus, Hillary Clinton, she makes Bill's Epstein connections even worse in a sit-down interview. She thought she was fixing the problem. No, she made it way worse. Wait until you see this train wreck. She sat down with the BBC just the other day. All right, that video's up on your screen. If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and click on it now, and I'll see you over there. For the rest of you, thanks for watching today. Have a great rest of your day.